So that's just the way we are. Um, you can't escape it. You can't get away from it. But you can escape it, and you can get away from it. Right? You can lessen your impact on yourself, and you can stop those things. So you may still think about them and all that, which is pretty much the same thing. Um, Christ said to look at a woman with lust is the same as being with her. So the thought is just the same as the deed, truly. So there was a funny line in that movie I Walked the Line where Jerry Lee Lewis is driving in the car, and he's got June Carter Cash and then the other rest of the gang in the car, and he says, God gave us a great big apple, see? And he said, don't touch it. He goes, don't think about touching it. Don't sing about touching it. Don't think about singing about touching it. And so it was a hilarious line to me, but he's right. We should look to God in all things. We should look to Christ in all things. Preserving our purity is the message, right? Because a little bit, right? If I cuss a little bit in front of my friends, and it drags them out into it, right? That's me causing them to stumble, right? So if Tina's driving the bus and losing her religion in front of the children, that's not a good look, right? Well, she says she loves Jesus, but boy, she cusses in. You know what I mean? So we haven't seen the video, but I mean, there's allegations. So I think they're false. So, but we're all there, right? Whether it's these direct things or indirect things, everybody's got their own angle that they're being attacked from, right? Mine is different from yours. Yours is different than from theirs, right? Everybody's got their own thing, and it's our own private hell that we're dealing with, right? Christ is the escape from that, right? The point I've made many times is we don't trust God because the love that we have learned is from broken people, right? We've learned about love from people that betray us and do us wrong, and lie to us, and leave us, right? But Jesus ain't going to do any of that. Jesus is here to stay. He's going to love you all the time. He's going to listen when you have rambled way too long. He's going to still listen to you, right? When I was a little kid, my mom told me, she was like, if you're worried or anything, you can just say, God, I'm just going to keep this line open, right? I just want you to be with me, and I'm just going to keep this line open, like calling somebody back in the old days and just sitting on the phone and not saying anything, right? God accepts those phone calls 24/7, right? And we just have to, it's just having a hand on him, It's like having a hand on your dad's back, right? It's feeling that, okay, I'm loved and I'm protected, right? I may go through storms, but God is going to take me through these storms. And often you'll find on the other side of the storm, God has corrected problems that you've had. I had something the other day. I can't remember specifically what it was. I think I broke something that I've been needing to replace, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've got to replace this thing. What I replaced it with was much better and works much better, and so God lets you fail into better situations, right? It's hardly ever falling back into worse things unless it's to serve Him, right? We've got to set up a church where we are, right? Everywhere we are, God expects us to plant a church. I'm not saying passing offering plates and having pews and all this and an interpretive dance team, but we are supposed to bring the message of hope in Jesus to all those we're around, right? Because you can feel that when somebody doesn't have it, right? You can feel that, the death inside of people. It's funny, I think the people that are in the roughest shape have the easiest time accepting Christ, right? Because all these heavy metal kids and all these fringe type people that are so angry at society and so mad at everything all the time, they kind of understand what the love of God should be, right? Because they embrace these things as if it's their way, but they truly detest these things at the same time, right? It's kind of like young people call it cosplay now, where you're putting on an outfit so you look like somebody else, and then you're walking around as this, an animal or a superhero or somebody. It's kind of like, man, I hate these guys. I hate the people that dress like this. I'm going to dress like a scumbag too. And, next thing you know, they've embraced that whole thing. Whereas actually the things that they're talking about horrify them just as much as they do us. But their way of embracing that darkness is actually more of a coping mechanism than anything else. It's like, this is the world that I live in, so I'll just let it wash over me, right? Well, as a Christian, we're not. It's like a duck putting oil on his back. We're coating ourselves and insulating ourselves from that evil with Christ, right? So, because so many people are see what broken love is, and they've been betrayed and lied to, and so they're looking for the people that would, they're looking for that salvation. They're looking for a way out, right? They don't want to be in the pit forever. The pagans, when I was a younger man, I read the Satanic Bible quite a bit, right? And so they would tell you, it was kind of a hippie thing, and it was like, no, you're your own God, and you can do whatever you want to. But later on in the book, it also said, no, that, these principalities have existed since the dawn of man, and any type of recognition for them is praise, right? And it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. It's praise nonetheless, right? So kids with the satanic shirts on and all this stuff, and they're like, oh, I don't really believe in this stuff. It's just the same as putting on a Klan robe, for a shock factor. And it's like, well, you may not be in the Klan, but you're in the parade right now, which makes you in the Klan, you see? So it's the same thing. And people don't realize that until it's really too late for many of them. It was a great disappointment for me to find out as a young man that the world wasn't going to come to an end in my 20s. I was like, it's all crashing down, good, and I should have studied and saved my money instead, right? Because God's coming when he wants to get here, right? And he ain't telling us. So we have to build in the value of life and the value of salvation to these people, because they want to feel it. People don't want to be outcasts. They want to be loved, right? We want to be loved. So we have to love ourselves, right? Love your neighbor as you also love yourself, and that's a tough one, because I hardly ever let myself off the ropes, right? I'm always beating myself up about stuff, over stuff. A lot of times it doesn't matter, and so much less the big stuff, and then I'm beating myself up about that too. So we need to give ourselves a break. Jesus forgave us, right? So if Jesus can forgive our horrific sins and all of our other shortcomings, then we need to work on that too. And we need to do that for others as well. My older kids don't like the fact that I'm different with my younger kids, right? I'm trying to instill more old-fashioned values in my younger kids, and I'm trying to extend to them a little bit more grace than I extended to my older ones, right? Trying to let them know that, look, I'm not trying to hover you over you all the time, but I am there for you, but you need to make more of your decisions on your own based on the values you've been raised with, right? Instead of the flashiest thing at the time. So, okay, I'll be done there. Anybody have anything they'd like to add or snide remarks? Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Even our very cells look like galaxies under a microscope, and we think we know so much, and we've barely got an inkling of what's going on, and I'm excited to see how God lays it all out when we get to heaven, because it's not going to be like a question and answer period. I think all things are going to be revealed to you instantly as you get there, and you'll be able to swim through every bit of human history and the history of God Himself. I think He'll be glad to show it to you. Say, who says? I missed it. Yeah, I understand the Bible part, but I didn't understand where the there is no God part. I didn't understand where that came from. Oh yes, yes, yep. Because I mean, I when I was a kid, I felt God. I could feel Him. And when I was walking around in my neighborhood, I was like, I know there is a God. I feel that. I can feel God being with me right now. I can feel that. You know, and I mean, my family was religious, but we were Methodist, so it was very hands off. You know, and the way they would accept salvation is they'd say, well, if you've prayed this prayer, good, all right, sure, yeah, mm-hmm. Right, yeah. I mean, look at even metallurgy. You've messed with some metals in your life. How did we ever figure out that you can, you know, heat something up 600 times, hit it with a hammer 8,000 times, and next thing you know, you've got something useful. these things, they don't just fall into your mind accidentally. They don't just, you don't wake up one day and I go, I could turn this mountain right here into railway cars. You know what I'm saying? There's divine inspiration there for everything that has happened to man, right? Good or bad, or and when it's bad, it's because we've forced it into that way, right? Our greed, all that, gets us every time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yes, sir, and I agree. But I think it's personal choice that overrides that so often. It's like, oh well, I know there's a God there, but I can say I'm sorry to him when I get there, right? I can just, oh, my bad type of thing. You know what I mean? And all is forgiven, and they can roll. So. Mhm. 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 Right. Mhm. Yeah. 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 And in in those days, many will be deceived, even the elect. Right. So, it's a choice. Right. It's an easing of the rules to to gain popularity. Right. We could say, oh yeah, well you could be gay in our church and all that. We'll have gay day at the church, and then we'll have gay pride day at the church. You know, and all these other things. And um, I think I think in the beginning of it's compassion, but in the reality and the implementation of it, it's wrong because you know if I came through and said, "Look, I'm a raging alcoholic," and y'all would say, "Okay, well, great, well, we'll help you," okay, but we're not going to help you up into the pulpit to be able to say, "Hey, I'm starting an alcoholics group, and we meet at the Fuzzy Mule, and Tina drives us down there." Right? No. So, and that's the thing. We churches nowadays are endorsing these things that are abominations, truly, right? Um, and leading us in the wrong way and dividing us, right? Dividing the Methodist Church in half, Presbyterians, all that. They're they're destroying themselves because they're not in the doctrine anymore. They're not in the Word of God. They've interpreted it to what they want it to say, and that's just wrong, you know. Um, so they will have to answer for that. There was a guy, David Platt. He was a huge preacher at Church of the Highlands and all that. I'm not hating on a big church, but he got off into the whole racist thing, like everybody's inherently racist and all this other stuff. And, you know, um, and it's a huge, huge mess and split the church up and all this other crazy stuff, money embezzlement. So even somebody that looks as if they could be a prophet, you know, if they're not preaching God's message, then they're not truly a prophet, right? They're going to tell you things uh, for for the future, essentially from history, right? So is what a prophet would do, and Yep, yep, it's true. Yeah, and sticking to that message, not letting it get bent, right? Because all the Jim Joneses in the world will have you, they'll just kind of dog ear the page a little bit, and they'll be like, "Oh well, yeah, we're bending this around to make it work for us, right?" And so anybody that's trying to get power out of it, if they're not pointing to Christ, then they're pointing in the wrong direction, right? So that's the thing. We just have to keep our eye on that. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's uh, every time I make it through a lesson and nobody goes, "You're wrong," then I'm good. I'm like, okay, good, because I know y'all would let me know. And but also, there's so many people that have studied the Bible so thoroughly, and I feel like I'm just dipping my toes in the water, but I feel like I understand the message, right? Um, Christ is the answer. That's it. Period. And so, anyway, I'll close with that. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for letting me give the lesson, Lord. I hope I have been out of the way. Please let your message ring true. Uh, Please forgive me for anything that I have said that is false, Lord. I do not want to bring dishonor to you, Lord. Lord, lead us into the world and let us love fearlessly, Lord. Let us take your message with us everywhere we go. Let us give grace and love uh, where we don't find it, Lord. Let your grace and love flow through us, Lord. Thank you for all our blessings.